Muy buenas tardes, muy bienvenidos a todos, de donde quiera que se estén conectando, de los países de Sudamérica, de otros países y de otras regiones. Muchísimas gracias. Vamos a esperar unos minutos más, 2 minutos más, para dar comienzo a este panel de la serie Áreas de Liderazgo, organizado por UPF Sudamérica, hoy con un panel de periodistas y del mundo empresario, bajo el lema La reunificación de Corea como base para la paz mundial. Muy bienvenidos al panel La reunificación de Corea como base para la paz mundial, de la serie Áreas de Liderazgo de UPF Sudamérica, auspiciado hoy por la Asociación Internacional de Medios para la Paz y la Asociación Internacional para la Paz y el Desarrollo Económico, con expositores del ámbito periodístico y la economía. Soy Miguel Werner, presidente de la Federación para la Paz Universal, capítulo Argentina. La Federación para la Paz Universal es una ONG con estatus consultivo general en el Consejo Económico y Social de la ONU, que desarrolla iniciativas y actividades en más de 160 países hace más de 15 años, empoderando a la paz como un valor central en la sociedad. Brinda visión y promueve iniciativas y programas para resolver cuestiones críticas de nuestro tiempo, sociales y ambientales, tomando como premisas la interdependencia, la prosperidad mutua y los valores universales. Uno de sus objetivos en los próximos 2 años es abordar las aristas del conflicto que dividió la península de Corea al cumplirse 70 años de una guerra olvidada, pero una de las más sangrientas de la historia. A tal fin se realiza una serie de paneles con referentes de países de todas las regiones y especialistas de todos los campos, diplomáticos, parlamentarios, académicos, periodistas, religiosos, referentes de la sociedad civil y la economía, con el propósito de hacer conocer este prolongado conflicto a la comunidad internacional y ofrecer propuestas y recomendaciones vinculadas a la reunificación pacífica de Corea. Vamos a comenzar con una oración. Vamos a pedirle al obispo Luis Moreno, presidente de la Honorable Cámara de Obispos Anglicanos de Ecuador, que haga la misma. Muy buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes con todos. Gracias por la invitación, especialmente a los representantes de la UPF en Sudamérica. Saludos también cordiales a los distinguidas panelistas para esta importante conferencia de liderazgo internacional. Vamos a hacer una oración, una plegaria a favor de la reunificación de la península de Corea y particularmente del pueblo coreano. Creador del cosmos, del universo, y particularmente creador y sustentador de la vida humana y de todas las formas de existencia conocidas y desconocidas presentes en la totalidad del universo. Te damos gracias particularmente por la existencia de nuestras vidas y por todo lo creado en favor del género humano, con el propósito de poder cumplir responsablemente con la misión que tú, Altísimo, nos has encomendado, para nuestro beneficio tanto en el espacio-tiempo de la actual realidad, como en la existencia eterna, infinita, donde tú moras. En esta oportunidad queremos pedirte que nos ayudes a ser conscientes de que somos una parte especial de tu creación, debido a que nos dotaste de inteligencia y sabiduría para poder darnos cuenta de nuestras actuaciones y de las consecuencias que pueden desprenderse de las mismas. Que comprendamos que las actuales circunstancias en las que nos encontramos de manera global, estamos en un punto crítico de transición donde tenemos la posibilidad de continuar existiendo con la supervivencia de nuestra civilización, si tomamos conciencia y trabajamos todos juntos para corregir las cosas que tenemos que cambiar, o caso contrario también podemos ser causantes de nuestra propia extinción, por lo cual necesitamos como humanidad expandir nuestra conciencia hacia tu presencia infinita. De manera especial te pedimos en esta oportunidad que veamos que todos los hombres tenemos un origen común. Por lo tanto, bien podemos considerar que la humanidad en su conjunto es esencialmente una sola familia, a pesar de las diferencias raciales, lingüísticas y demás. Por lo que las religiones y otros conocimientos surgidos de un trabajo intelectual y científico son fundamentalmente responsables de revelar correctamente un fragmento de tu existencia infinita y del mensaje que tienes para todos los hombres a fin de que logremos cumplir con la misión encomendada a cada uno de nosotros desde el principio de los tiempos. Finalmente, ayúdanos a superar las diferencias creadas de manera ficticia y artificial que nos separan de nuestra esencia como seres humanos y de nuestra dignidad, y a luchar en contra de las que están injustamente establecidas, creando las condiciones a través de la comunidad internacional para que esto no ocurra en el futuro, ya que estas diferencias no son producto de las fragmentaciones espacio-temporales permitidas en tu soberanía y que son útiles para nuestro desarrollo y crecimiento espiritual, sino son producto más bien del egoísmo, de la imposición, de ideologías extremistas, de intereses individuales, nacionales, regionales y globales, de las potencias extranjeras que muchas veces atentan en contra de temas como la unidad cultural y racial, como es el caso de lo ocurrido con el hermano pueblo coreano desde la arbitraria ocupación japonesa en 1910 hasta terminar con la ominosa división que dio como resultado final el surgimiento de las dos Coreas en 1945. División que, como sabemos, trajo, entre otras graves consecuencias, ruptura de una unidad cultural budista espléndida, forjada en miles de años. La migración de millones de personas y familias, y de manera especial trajo esta ruptura, la forzada y dolorosa separación de las familias coreanas dentro de su propio territorio nacional desde la vergonzosa división de la península coreana. Permite que este trabajo realizado por todos quienes creemos que se puede lograr y mantener la paz, trabajo que seguramente también los hermanos coreanos puede
express the will of most of our Korean members for the peacefully reunification of the Korean Peninsula.
para que llegue según las creencias de la cultura coreana la anhelada tercera era de despliegue como el faro que brilla sobre el Asia para beneficio de toda la humanidad. Así sea.
Benefit of all humanity. Amen.
Muchísimas gracias, Obispo Luis Moreno.
Thank you so
presidente
much,
de la
Bishop
Cámara de
Moreno,
Obispos Latinoamericanos,
President of the
estas intenciones
Camera
y oración. Sabemos que
in Ecuador.
se necesitan el esfuerzo y la inversión de tiempo de todos los sectores y de todos los especialistas de todos los campos para esta meta que se ha planteado
Thank
en
you
esta
to
serie
all
de
the specialists that are here in order to
de Corea.
achieve this goal for the
Vamos
peaceful
ahora a
reunification
presentar
of South Korea. Now we are going to show a brief video,
que van a estar exponiendo, que son el tema de los medios, particularmente del lanzamiento de la Asociación Internacional
especially the launching of the International
de
Association
Medios para la Paz, IMAP, durante la Cumbre Mundial
of
desarrollada
Press for
de
Peace
del 2020.
was released in February 2020.
La Conferencia Mundial de Medios 2020 se celebró al conmemorar el centenario del Padre Verdadero y el 60º aniversario de la Santa Boda. El rol de los medios en la realización de un mundo de interdependencia, prosperidad mutua y valores universales fue el tema que atrajo a 520 periodistas de unos 71 países.
And we look forward to collaborating together and truly applying our experience, our wisdom, our skill, particularly in the sphere of the media. Sometimes
이곳에 모인 우리 모두의 생산적이고 창의적인 논의는 지속 가능하고 평화로운 세계를 위해 훌륭한 밑거름이 될 것입니다.
If there were 15 or 20,000 journalists from all ages and all countries in the world who cared about making a difference, applying the excellence in their craft of journalism, we can truly make a difference.
We need to exert intellectual power of journalism, which relies on heaven's intervention.
Luego de los discursos de bienvenida que aludieron al significado y el valor del evento, periodistas, ministros y el alcalde de Seúl dieron discursos congratulatorios.
평화가 위협받을수록 언론의 역할도 더 중요합니다. 공생, 공영, 공의를 통한 인류의 새로운 비전과 해법을 제시한다면 지금의 위기는 기회로 바뀌고 지구촌은 보다 더 행복해질 것입니다.
특히 세계 유일의 분단 국가인 한반도에서 전 세계 언론인들이 모여 평화를 위한 언론의 역할에 대해서 의견을 나누는 것은 매우 뜻깊은 일이라고 생각합니다.
특히 요즘처럼 우리가 알지 못했던 신종 바이러스가 세상을 어지럽힐 때 그 못지않게 불안과 공포를 부추기는 무분별한 정보와 가짜 뉴스가 우리의 마음을 어지럽힙니다. 혼란과 혐오로 사람 사이를 갈라놓습니다. 역설적으로 정도를 긋는 저널리즘이 우리에게 얼마나 중요한지 깨닫게 해주고 있습니다.
El senador Cliff Stearns destacó en su discurso la importancia de los medios de comunicación en la creación de la justicia social y de los valores en común que tiene una sociedad, en la que las noticias falsas se distribuyen con facilidad, y expresó sus expectativas que IMAP desempeñe un rol moral para la prosperidad y la paz de la humanidad. Shin Jae-won, vicepresidente de Hyundai Motors, inició el evento hablando sobre las innovaciones radicales que se ven en el sector de la aviación y destacó los cambios vertiginosos que el desarrollo de la tecnología digital le imprimió a los medios. Los debates fueron sobre la misión de los periodistas en la creación de un mundo de paz, de interdependencia, de prosperidad mutua y valores universales. A estos debates siguieron otros sobre la innovación en los medios de comunicación y los desafíos que enfrenta el periodismo.
Fake news is saving journalism. There's so much content that is so bad out there that it's worth paying to cut through the rubbish. And this is the positioning that is saving newspapers and quality news and content magazines. When you actually tell readers, I'm in the business of credibility and telling the truth.
한국 언론 위기의 원인은 극단적인 정치적 양극단화다라고 말씀드릴 수 있겠습니다. 사실 정치적 양극단화는 세계적인 현상입니다. 반면 극단적 이념 마케팅은 모든 언론사의 신뢰도를 깎아먹고 있습니다.
What I see from you here are the kind of journalists who can run this IMAP organization into becoming a change factor.
En la tercera y última sesión se abordaron las dificultades de la prensa en las diferentes regiones, sesión en la que representantes especializados de Asia, África, las Américas y el Medio Oriente expusieron sobre el rumbo a tomar por los medios en la actualidad y la necesidad de formar un sistema de cooperación para cumplir adecuadamente el rol conductor, tras lo cual adoptaron una declaración de apoyo a la paz local e internacional y seguidamente lanzaron oficialmente IMAP. La Conferencia Mundial de Medios 2020 se celebró al conmemorar el centenario del Padre Verdadero y el 60º aniversario de la Santa.
Muy bien, muchísimas gracias. Bueno, hemos tenido el contexto
Thank
de
you
la
so much. So we have a little bit of the context about this international association or
de febrero 2020.
International Peace Media Association.
Una de las asociaciones que está auspiciando el panel de hoy de la serie
One of the associations that is hosting today's event is this association we just saw. So we are going to receive the welcoming words from Reverend Don Mushin, the director of UPF in South America. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Para la paz, damas y caballeros.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my gratitude to each one of you for participating on this conference, international conference organized by UPF South America under the topic, the reunification of the Peninsula Korea as the foundation for our world peace. This is a topic very great since in 2021, we celebrate 30 years to the visit of Reverend Moon and his wife to North Korea when Kim Il-sung was still alive. Communism received first lesson in Reverend Moon did a lot of efforts during his whole life, offering the position that could overcome materialism and the confrontation logic, call it the head area or Godism. The Bible teaches us to love our enemies. So with this kind of heart, Reverend Moon lead this movement, Causa movement in South America to overcome atheism and materialism, not through hate, but through true love. True love means give, and forget that you have given. Our founders have practiced this during their whole lives. He has visited North Korea to offer the North Korean people his proposition of Godism, a position and focusing on universal values in order to resolve conflicts. This year, we celebrate the 30 years of this historical meeting, and we celebrate the spirit and this practice of true love that worked tireless in order to achieve a peace and unified Korea. I want to thank all the peace ambassadors with whom it would be impossible to work in each country according with the desire of the founders of UPF. In this difficult situation that we are right now, with little freedom due to COVID-19, with high numbers in a lot of countries, not only because of the pandemic, but because of hunger, pain, as the result of conflicts and fights among cities, countries, and nations. In reality, there are obstacles in front of us instead of peace, and I believe that this is the moment for us to put this into practice, these fundamental values in our respective areas that we work with. In this conference that we have today in South America, that's being hosted for the International Association Media for Peace and the International Association for International Economic Association for Peace. I want to thank all different countries under the topic of the reunification, the peaceful reunification of Korea as the foundation for world peace. This is an opportunity for all the participants to find out a new vision and new hope. Once more, I would like to thank all the participants for being here today. Thank you so much.
Muchísimas gracias,
Thank
Reverendo
you so much, Reverend Domushin, Regional Director of UPF in South America. Thank you for your welcoming words. Now we are going to receive the words of our special guest, Nelson Marcelli. He was a national deputy in Brazil since 1991 until 2007. He's also a businessman. Good afternoon, Doctor. I want to greet Reverend Shin, on behalf of whom I greet the other speakers, as well as those who follow us on YouTube. I thank UPF for the invitation to attend this important conference on the topic, the reunification of the Koreas as the foundation for world peace. UPF is an NGO with constitutive status on the United Nations Economic and Social Council and is present in more than 180 countries with a global network of ambassadors for peace who support the vision of building a peaceful society. Based on principles of coexistence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. This organization was created in 2005 by the couple Reverend Moon, and since its foundation, with the support of other affiliated organizations, it has held numerous events for peace involving authorities from all areas. In 2016, the UPF launched APP, International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace, and in 2017, I led its launch in Brazil at the Nehru Helms Auditorium of the National Congress. In 2019, the UPF also launched the International Summit for Peace Council and the International Association of First Ladies for Peace. In 2020, it was the launch of the International Association of Scholars for Peace and the International Association of Media for Peace and the International Association for Economic Development. The UPF also launched the Sunhak Peace Prize in 2014, which is a title to those who have lived for the sake of others, contributing to the development and solution of problems in worldwide level. And this year, the UPF is launching the International Association of Culture and Arts for Peace to project peace and make it present in everyone's mind and heart. Korea is one of the emerging Asian countries, and its history has become well known after the 1988 Olympics. We know that the Korean War started in 1950, more than 70 years ago, ending with an armistice, leaving the Korean peninsula divided, despite being populated by people with a common history, a common culture, and a common language. I believe that the peaceful reunification of the Korean peninsula is important not only for peace in Korea and Northeast Asia, Asia, but also to the whole world. There's no such a thing as a good war. Every war is perverse and has disastrous consequences. We know that for this very reason, over many decades, the founders of the Universal Peace Federation have established many initiatives aimed at promoting peace on the Korean Peninsula, including visiting the president of North Korea 30 years ago, the then President Kim. The Universal Peace Federation, through its many programs, including a series of World Summit, the Rally of Hope, international leadership conferences, like the one we are holding today, that all aim to contribute to the peace and reunification of the Korean Peninsula. UPF is valuing the collaborative and multi-sectoral approach through its many organizations, with experts in each field, in order to explore for improving relations between the people of the two Koreas, as well as among other interested countries in the region and in our planet. Once again, I appreciate the invitation to participate in this webinar. I congratulate the UPF and Dr. Moon for all the participants that have participated in this effort for world peace in Korea and in the whole world. I wish good luck to all the speakers and a big hug to everyone. May you all stay with God. A big hug for everyone. Thank you so much, Deputy Samarkazeli. There was also one of the first peace ambassadors in Brazil. Thank you so much. In order to get some time, we are going to share the curriculum of the guests in the chat. Now we are going to hear the words of Dr. Simon Ferraboli. He is the General Secretary of UPF in South America. He has had a lot of contact with Korea, and he's going to talk about reasons to work for the peaceful reunification of North Korea and South Korea. Good afternoon. Thank you, Miguel. It's a pleasure to be with all of you here today on this conference on the topic about the peaceful reunification of the Koreas as the foundation for world peace. It's an initiative of UPF, and it has been developing in the whole world. I want to thank to all the speakers today and all the people that are following us on YouTube. Especially, I want to extend my greetings to the media, the press that is transmitting this workshop, this conference live. For example, in Brazil, Channel Network TV, from a friend of mine, Alejandro Dado, and also TVN and other media vehicles in Brazil and South America. Despite the pandemic, since we live in the era of globalization, we can meet without leaving our houses. The series of conferences held by UPF has the goal to construct a unified and peaceful world with values of mutual prosperity and universal shared values. And we propose to nations and resolving conflicts. UPF is dedicating to the studies of the integration economically and culturally for humanity, because the destiny of the Korean Peninsula and humanity is also controlled by God. Having this in mind, For the next 2 years, UPF is going to hold a lot of programs and projects for the peaceful reunification, very ambitious, working through the association under the umbrella of UPF. By the end of April, we are going to have the International Conference as Initiative for Peace in Northeast Asia for the peaceful reunification of Korea. And we are going to hold it for all the Americas since Canada and the US, Central America, Caribbean, and South America. In the beginning of May, we are going to have the 6th Rally of Hope, aiming, looking back, throughout the years, the UPF founders, Reverend Moon and Dr. Hakshahan Moon, both born in North Korea, have made a lot of effort to cherish reconciliation between both Koreas. For example, after visiting North Korea in 1991, a lot of projects were held by Dr. and Reverend Moon. Dr. Hakshahan Moon has a special chapter on her autobiography about this visit. Also in 1991, the Little Angels Ballet from South Korea made a presentation in North Korea. December 2013, a lot of tourists took a flight to North Korea and visited North Korea for 5 days with touristic conditions. A lot of other UPF volunteers sent humanitarian help as part of our initiative for peace. One of the propositions that UPF defends is the concept of peaceful zones created by the Security Council at the UN. In the year 2000, the founders of UPF proposed the establishment of peace zones where there are serious conflicts, for example, the DMZ that divides both Koreas. Besides that, the UPF supports the idea to create the 5th workshop in the DMZ in the region of Gyeongmuncho. In my experience, visiting South Korea since 1989, I could see a very good change, extraordinary change through technology and economic and cultural growth, also sports and worldly connected. Today, we have aspects of culture and technology, South Korean technology and culture throughout the whole world. In 2019, I visited North Korea for 5 days, and it's impossible to compare the differences between both Koreas. Therefore, I could understand the necessity for the reunification for this country that it's still divided. I believe that true love and truth is going to overcome all the problems. Dr. Moon, the mother of peace, states that the ideal world and the ideal future will be based on the culture of heart and love. Because this heart and love, it's what makes us work worldwide as a family to resolve all the pain and conflicts that affects people in all parts of the world. Because the good made for one person or one country is going to benefit the whole world. Even if it's a difficult time that we are living right now, we have to keep planting the good seeds for peace and love, because the world is going to change. Thank you for joining us for this great cause to heal the pain of the Korean people, a pain that has lasted for more than 70 years. For this, we are here. I hope that South America can cherish and flourish as a hopeful continent and peaceful continent blessed by God. Thank you so much for your attention.
Muchísimas gracias, Simón, por
Thank you so
su
much, Dr. Simone, for your exposition. Also for explaining about our next activities in the next few months in all the regions, and also the sixth Rally of Hope on the 2nd of March. Now we are going to keep our schedule and receive the next panelist. We're going to start with the lady. But she couldn't arrive today. We send her greetings and we desire that she gets better soon. We had also Teresa Otimiano. She's from Peru. We greet her. Good afternoon, Teresa. Welcome. Hello, Miguel. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank the UPF and also Reverend Domachin, the General Director of UPF South America. I want to also thank the General Secretary, Dr. Simón Ferraboli. I want also to thank the President of UPF Peru for inviting me and permitting me to participate in this important conference on the topic of the reunification, the peaceful reunification of Korea as a foundation for world peace. So to begin with, I want to tell you about the visit that I made to Korea. In 2001, I was invited by social scientists to visit the Korean Peninsula. That's why I got interested and I was received as a representative of this association. I stayed there for about 12 days and I could get to know and visit some places like the maternity hospital, very well equipped, and that was very careful with the mothers and the newborns. I could see the whole city of Pyongyang. I also visited Mount Petum, where was the small house where the leader was born, North Korean leader was born. I could also visit the 38th parallel, that is the line that divides both Koreas, where I could see in the side of North Korea, the military from North Korea, and on the South Korean side, a bunch of American soldiers and also South Korean soldiers. I could also get to know the room where the armistice was signed. This is a treaty of non-aggression that was signed in 1993 that put an end on the conflict, but it was not a definitive peace agreement. With this, I want to tell you about a reflection. Being ambassadors for peace for UPF that desire the peace in the world, we have to work for peace and the reintegration of both people, like we saw on the Winter Olympics. And we want to see the young people of Korea under one united flag. We have also been working with other unification projects where our federation as representative of the civil society was indicated to unite other sectors that in other areas that can also contribute to the association of both Koreas until we reach finally the complete reunification of both Koreas as their people also desire. Not in a conflictive way, but in a peaceful way. the founders of UPF, Reverend Moon and Dr. Rachel Moon. And the big dream of the Mother of Peace, we are working so her dream can be achieved in order to achieve the peaceful reunification of Korea and also a reunified world, a peaceful world. I also want to reemphasize other things that I could observe in this visit. North Korea has a very organized system. They don't have debts with international economic organizations. They have universities, cooperatives. I could talk with some Koreans, and I asked if they agreed with the reunification of both Koreas, and they answered me with a smile on their faces that they wish for the reunification because they also have families in North Korea and in South Korea, so they would like to be reunited with their families. This makes me think about different ways that we can achieve this reunification. Last year in February, I was invited by UPF Peru to watch the international conference for UPF in Seoul, and I had the opportunity to hear different speakers from the government and also representatives from the parliament that were watching the event. The Association of Parliamentarians and also the scholars, they all agreed to start a peaceful project to achieve the reunification of both Koreas. This hypothetical reunification has been compared to some other historical reunification of other nations, like the reunification of Germany with the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1990, and also the reunification. Those were historical events where those nations could achieve their reunification. And we can use as an example for the reunification of this nation, Korea. Other panelists have expressed themselves about other events that could lead to the reunification of South Korea and North Korea. President Kim Jong-un from South Korea and the president of North Korea had a historical meeting and a conversation in Pyongyang in June. They talked about the great importance of this first meeting and this first talk to promote the mutual comprehension and understanding, and also to work for the reunification of the Koreas. They declared that first they need to solve the problem of reunification by their own initiative, with their own efforts, together with the Korean people. They have agreed to balance the economy of both nations, and also on topics about cultural, healthcare, and environmental issues. The South President of Korea was the one that took initiative to visit the North Korean president, and the North Korean president did the same later on. They talked about a treatment and to reach an armistice between both Koreas. We want to achieve the dream of the mother of peace and the dream of the Korean people to achieve the peaceful reunification of both Koreas and also a peaceful world. Thank you so much.
Muchísimas gracias, doctora Teresa Otiniano,
Thank you so
abogada,
much, Dr. Teresa,
empresarial y jurisprudencia de Perú, por compartir sus experiencias también de haber estado
for sharing your experiences, for attending the conference in South Korea, and also for your experience in North Korea. Thank you so much for all people that are connected from different countries in South America and also in different regions of the world. We want to remind you that you can leave questions in the chat if you have any questions for the panelists. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for following this event with us. We are not going to read the big curriculum of the next panelist. We are going to share it in the chat. Now we are going to introduce Professor Aldo Centurion Lopes, is Master in Economy and General Coordinator in Mercosur. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can you hear me well? Thank you for inviting me to participate on such an important event to talk about the reunification, the peaceful reunification of Korea and the world peace. I want to address 3 aspects in my presentation. First, I'm going to talk about the conceptualization of what most people understand as peace. The second, I'm going to talk about Mercosur and peace. And third, I'm going to talk about the importance of collaboration to expand peace in worldwide level. War is the absence of war. Each country uses its resources in 2019, $1.2 billion were spent to defend countries. Another concept related to peace is related to human beings, is the spiritual peace. This peace means being helpful toward others, to forgive and be forgiven, which can be the greatest satisfaction of a person in its life. So those 2 concepts can help to achieve worldwide peace, especially in Korea. And second topic, Mercosur and peace. In 1998, Mercosur was agreed under the democratic agreement. And there were 2 circumstances to hold Venezuela and other countries out of the treatment. Mercosur is a peaceful zone without massive destructive weapons and wants to hold agreements to have less destructive weapons. South America has had colonial wars, independence wars. The last one in the Maldives But the war between countries, the last one was in 1941. So we have 80 years without wars among countries and brothers in South America. And this is very important. Even having the potential to have wars or wars that could have happened in the future, like Maldives or Venezuela, Guyana, Chile, Bolivia. Those are some examples. And the third element, which I think is the most important, the leaders, the conversation between leaders. Leaders, the military power, the political power, as China, the US, India, Russia, and other countries. They have different interests, political and economical interests. So in order to achieve long-lasting peace, we have to start with this spiritual peace in a way that we can have in the future peace, and that the world philosophy can be ruled by peace. In our point of view, no weapons policy is one necessary step for reunification of Korea, of South Korea and North Korea. But we need fundamentally this talk among today's leaders and also new leaders. There are global, pacific, democratic, non-corrupt, and responsible, and sensibility, social sensibility. Thank you so much, Professor Centurion Lopez, Master in Economics, Paraguay. Just emphasizing that South America is a region without weapons, mass destructive weapons, and peaceful. Now we are going to receive the third panelist. We are going to Brazil. We are going to receive Dr. Sergio Redó, President of São Paulo Press Association. Good afternoon, welcome. Can you please open your microphone?
Perfeito. Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Após ter ouvido os meus colegas, não é?
After hearing my colleagues,
que concordo plenamente com a palavra que foi dito sobre a reunificação, a necessidade da reunificação das Coreias. Gostaria de, nesse momento, hoje é dia 31 de março, 31 de março de 2021. Mas em 31 de março de 1964, nós tivemos um fato heróico que é extremamente especial e emblemático para o Brasil. Quero, nesse momento, cumprimentar os dois grandes generais, general Humberto Alencar de Castelo Branco, general João Batista de Oliveira Figueiredo. Salvaram o Brasil das mãos socialistas comunistas e desejavam implantar a ditadura do proletariado aqui no Brasil. Portanto, nós contrariamos todas essas iniciativas que venham no interesse de fazer com que unifiquem esse movimento social comunista em todo o Brasil. E essa foi uma grande medida. O maior desejo da humanidade sempre foi viver em paz, em total harmonia. Desde o surgimento do homem na Terra como criatura e
Since the
semelhança de Deus,
emergency of
a
man on
partir do
earth as
surgimento
creature in resemblance of
da
God,
primeira mulher que ficou encantada
from the
com
emergence
esta
of the first
criação
woman
divina,
was
mas
made
que não
by the greatest
resistiu
divine
e caiu
creation,
em
but
grande
who did not
tentação,
resist and
iniciando
fell
aí
into a great
processo
temptation,
de
thus
constante
initiating a
disputa de
process
amor
of
e poder.
constant love and
E
power.
séculos depois, o dinheiro
Disputes
veio a
centuries
fazer
later,
parte desta
money
complexa
became part of this
relação
complex human
humana e cultural.
relationship.
É indiscutível
It
que
is
estamos todos vivendo,
indisputable that we are
infelizmente,
all
com o
living,
advento desta
unfortunately,
pandemia do
with the advent
Covid-19
of this
e mais
COVID-19 pandemic,
inusitada e inesperada guerra
the
mundial.
most
E
unusual and
pior,
expected
totalmente
world war
silenciosa,
and
que o
war
inimigo
totally
invisível
silent,
tem
where the
várias
enemy is
faces
invisible
e a sua
and has
estratégia de
several
ataque
faces and
conforme
strategies of attacking
diversidade do
according to the
local em que ele
diversity
se
of the
encontra.
place
A
where it is.
ciência prova
Science
que ele não
proves that it
resiste
does not
temperaturas
resist cold
frias, mas o
temperatures,
vírus não
but the virus
intimida e
not
mata seus
intimidated
inimigos
and
em
kills its
qualquer
enemy
lugar do planeta.
in any
Fizemos
place of
essa
the
pequena
planet. We
digressão
made this
para
video
demonstrar que o
digression to
inimigo comum
demonstrate that
hoje
the
em todo o
common enemy
mundo
for
não é o
everyone today
Covid-19,
is not
mas
COVID-19,
infelizmente
but
líderes que
unfortunately
dominam
leaders
países
dominate
que
countries
oprimem o seu
that
povo,
oppress the
transformando-o
people,
em
transforming
verdadeiras
them
massas de
into real
manobra,
masses of
objetivando
maneuver,
satisfazer
aiming to
seus
satisfy
plenos
their
desejos
uncontrollable
incontroláveis, que se
desires.
escondem
They are
atrás
hiding
dos mais
behind the most
diversos modelos
perverse social
sociais comunistas
communist models
existentes
on
ainda
earth.
na Terra, infelizmente. O mundo hoje, por
Unfortunately,
questões
the word today
discriminatórias,
for
ainda
discriminatory
carrega um
reasons
viés de
still carries an
intransigência com as
intransigent bias
minorias.
towards
E
minorities,
nós, no
which
Brasil,
fortunately in
felizmente,
Brazil,
em que pese
despite
nefasto
the
modelo
nefarious
social
social
comunista
communist
implementado por
model
vários
implanted by several
governantes desse
governments
país,
since
desde a era FHC até o
FHC
impeachment de
until
Dilma
the
Rousseff,
impeachment
sempre
of Dilma
fomos um país
Rousseff.
de grande
We have always been a
miscigenação,
country of
onde
great
pretos,
miscegenation,
brancos,
where
amarelos e
black, white,
vermelhos
yellow,
conviveram
and
na
red
maior
have
absoluta
lived
paz
in
e harmonia,
absolute peace and harmony.
levando-se em consideração o
Taking into
gigantismo do
account
território
the
brasileiro,
big
são
proportions
8,5
of the
milhões
Brazilian
de quilômetros
territory,
quadrados, com mais de
8.5 million
210
square
milhões de
kilometers,
habitantes,
with more than
contemplando as mais diversas nacionalidades,
210 million
os asiáticos,
inhabitants,
japoneses,
covering the
chineses,
most diverse
coreanos, africanos,
nationalities, Asian,
nigerianos,
Japanese,
angolanos,
Chinese,
libaneses,
Koreans,
europeus,
Nigerians,
italianos,
Mongolians,
espanhóis,
Lebanese,
portugueses, tantos outros.
Italians,
E os
Spanish, Portuguese,
latino-americanos,
and
os
Latin
argentinos,
Americans,
uruguaios, paraguaios,
Argentinians,
chilenos,
Uruguayans,
peruanos,
Paraguayans,
bolivianos, colombianos,
Peruvians,
equatorianos,
Bolivians, Colombians,
guianenses,
Equatorians,
surinamenses e
Guyanese,
etc.
Surinamese,
Além de inúmeros outros
as well as
povos e países
countless
que
other
ajudaram
people and
a construir
countries that
esta
helped
grande
to build
nação,
this great
o
nation.
Brasil. Indiscutivelmente, a nossa Universal Peace Federation,
Unquestionably, the
presidida
Universal
pelo
Peace
nosso líder
Federation,
maior,
headed by our
doutora
biggest
Hak
leader,
Cha
Dr.
Han-moon,
Hak Cha Han-moon,
caminha sempre na
has always
frente
taken
e
the
a
lead
passos
by
largos,
giving wide
com a visão
steps
de
in the
futuro,
future
e nos
and
indica através dos
indicating
nossos
us
líderes
through our
sul-americanos,
South American
Reverendo
leaders,
Dom
Reverend
Monsin,
Dom Muxin,
Chairman of
Chairman of
UPF South
UPF
America,
South
aliás,
America.
falando muito bem português,
By the way,
parabéns.
he speaks
Assim
very
como o
well
Dr. Simão
Portuguese,
Faraboli,
as well as
nosso
Dr.
General
Simão Faraboli, General Secretary
of UPF South
of
America,
UPF South
que nos
America,
deram a honra e na qualidade de
that have
embaixador
given
da
us the
paz do
honor
UPF,
and as
jornalista e
ambassador for
presidente da
peace,
Associação Paulista de
journalist
Imprensa,
and president
assim
of
como
São Paulo Press
vice-presidente da Federação
Association
Nacional de
and
Imprensa,
vice-president
FENAI,
of
com
National
sede em
Press
Brasília,
Federation,
de nos
with headquarters in
pronunciarmos em nome de
Brasília,
mais de
to speak
300
on behalf of more than
profissionais da
3,000
comunicação,
communication
trabalhando
professionals
incansavelmente
that
para
are
informar a
working
sociedade
tirelessly
brasileira,
to inform
através de
Brazilian
vários
society
veículos, tais como
through a
rádio,
variety of
jornais,
vehicles
periódicos
such
e
as radio,
principalmente nas
radio,
redes
television,
sociais, onde
newspaper,
se encontra
articles,
hoje
and
o maior
especially on
número de
social media,
comunicadores. E
where
o
we
que é
can find the
pior,
majority
a
of social
sociedade
communicators in
de
Brazil,
comunicação das grandes emissoras não divulgam. É uma
which is
realidade
a
velada.
hidden
A
reality.
sociedade não tem interesse de dizer
Society has no
nós
interest
estamos
to
perdendo
say
para as redes sociais.
that we are
Neste
losing
momento,
to
não posso
social
deixar de
media.
fazer justiça
In this
aos nossos
moment,
grandes
I
competentes,
can't forget to
ao
recognize
Dr.
our
Koichi
UPF
Sasaki e sua
comrades,
senhora,
such as
Onan, a quem eu
President Koichi
cumprimento todos os
Sasaki
nossos líderes
and
aqui
his
no
wife,
Brasil,
Mrs.
e
Onan,
em São Paulo
and all the
especificamente.
leaders
A paz
here in Brazil
mundial
and
é o
São
nosso
Paulo.
interesse. Nesta linha de raciocínio,
World peace is
seria
our
de alto
interest.
grau em
Following
injustiça
this
e
line of
total
thought, it would be
despreparo
a
cultural e
huge
espiritual deixar de lembrar do grande artífice que iniciou essa obra fantástica em busca da unificação da paz mundial. Um dos maiores pescadores de almas e pacificador da Terra, que já nos deixou, mas plantou um dos mais importantes legados da humanidade, da Universal Peace Federation, e que hoje tenho a honra de estar seu nome, o reverendo Sun Myung Moon. Do mesmo modo, devemos, nesta oportunidade, estamos reunidos com a mais altas personalidades do segmento da América Latina, pelos quais cumprimentos a todos. Neste momento oportuno, junto lançarmos um desagravo para que tenhamos repercussão no mundo inteiro. Isto é fundamental. Em nome de Reverendo Moon, porque foi ele, um norte-coreano, que iniciou todo esse trabalho com a finalidade dessa unificação. E nós temos que reivindicá-lo agora, porque foi injustiçado na Terra por tudo que passou e sofreu há décadas, com o maior fake news que ocorreu à época, já vivido por uma personalidade da envergadura, da notoriedade que revelou verdadeiro Messias do seu tempo. No plano político, o reverendo Moon, com sua forte tendência anticomunista, mesmo assim se reuniu com o líder fundador da Coreia do Norte, Kim Il-sung, à época, no começo dos anos 90. Além de ter estado com várias lideranças, como Richard Nixon em 70, Mikhail Gorbachev, que inclusive o converteu para a crença cristã antes da sua morte, a revelia dos comunistas. Hoje, o nosso maior e mais importante objetivo é lutarmos com todas as nossas armas, principalmente a espiritual. Esta nós não podemos faltar. Na absoluta crença em Deus, que a Coreia do Sul haverá de promover a tão desejada paz e união fraternal com a Coreia do Norte. Todos nós, neste momento, não temos a menor dúvida que todos são coreanos, asiáticos, das mesmas aspirações espirituais, fundada em valores e princípios que unem todos os povos, que é a união, a paz, o amor e a fraternidade. Desejamos que a nossa UPF, com um excelente relacionamento existente na figura do seu presidente, Moon Jae-in, da Coreia do Sul, possa agora, com maior energia e brilhantismo, articular diplomaticamente, através de uma cooperação internacional, e o desejo de que o povo coreano que é ver a sua península totalmente unificada. Neste momento, gostaria de cumprimentar a todos. Nesses termos, cabe a cada um de nós a consciência de manter o pensamento positivo, e eu já estou finalizando, e principalmente elevado a valores muito maiores do que o poder do dinheiro, porém que é alcançado através da mais importante matéria-prima, que é o ser humano pode chegar, que é o amor, porque é através do amor, é através dele que se alcança a paz. E finalizando, encontrei somente na Bíblia Sagrada a forma de concluir essas minhas palavras, através de um texto extraído de 2 Crônicas 7:14. Se meu povo se chama pelo nome, se humilhar e orar em busca da minha face, se converter de seus maus caminhos, então eu ouvirei do céu, perdoarei os seus pecados e curarei a sua terra. Desta forma, tenho certeza que a Coreia do Sul haverá de manter o seu grande desejo, que é estar unidos com os coreanos. É assim que todos nós pensamos. Que Deus ilumine o coração de cada um. Muito obrigado.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Sergio Redó, Press Association President in Brazil, also a Peace Ambassador for UPF. Reassuring the spiritual value
de pueblos y culturas, más allá de las diferencias y de la diversidad de pensamientos y creencias. Siguiendo entonces con los periodistas.
So following our program, the next panelist, we're going to invite a person from Bolivia, Douglas Romay Lanza. Good afternoon, welcome. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Douglas Romay Lanza, a journalist and social communicator in Bolivia, member of the World Peace Federation. I believe that we all believe in a world without boundaries, with similar opportunities to all people. Unfortunately, men are the ones that create limits, boundaries, borders, and the governments are the ones that create differences and cultivate the culture of power based in the Machiavellic philosophy that split and govern, split and rule. Bolivia is a country of 9 departments, and since the election of a socialist government, we are the multinational country. It's divided Bolivians for its color, the way they speak, and I can't help thinking about a common goal. They have become advocates for contradictory political beliefs. That's something that also happens in Korea and divides Korea in North and South Korea. We are a nation that are divided politically and are divided to govern their followers. Since their true power and beliefs is what unite them. We see their great potential with a lot of admiration, and we would be very happy that all of the boundaries, ideological boundaries, could fade and then unite its people. I want to mention Proverbs in the Holy Bible. When the fair people rule, the people are happy, but when the evil rule, the people suffer. There is a subtitle for our nation that says the union makes us strong. So that also applies to North and South Korea. I hope that you all find yourselves in your safe place in union, reunification. May God bless all its people, North and South, and also all of us. May God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Douglas Romay Lanza from Bolivia. We still have a couple more minutes. We have a bit more time. So if you want to ask questions, you can write it down in the chat. Thank you so much, Douglas. So we are continuing. We have our last panelist on the topic of the reunification of Korea as a foundation for world peace.
De una misma Corea. Muy buenas tardes. Muy
We are going to invite Daniel Weisenberg, journalist and writer. Thank you so much to all the panelists. It was a pleasure to hear you all. I want to thank for the invitation, and I think we have common agreement about the situation in Korea. There's a book that was written to talk about a person that was living in both Koreas. And I also want to enjoy this moment without too much protocols to make a critical analysis in different means.
Antes hablábamos de las fake news, nos llega desde el norte de la península coreana especialmente, ¿no? En la era de la transparencia.
We receive fake news, especially coming from North Korea. So it's also very interesting. It's literature characteristics. It's a very organized place, as if the Cold War hasn't ended. In North Korea, this craziness can be explained by the principle of Machiavelli.
En la realidad concreta, Corea del Norte es un país pobre.
North Korea is a poor country. It has a strategy that consists in arming itself, so no one will put them at danger. It's also a place that is used as counterbalance for the American presence in the peninsula. To the US, it's convenient to justify their military posts in the region. To Japan, at least part of Japan, it can also serve as an excuse to have more military people. There are two different characters. One is Donald Trump with his visibility, and also in South Korea, Moon Jae-in with his pacifism. They opened a communication, a road of communication that didn't happen before with their ancestors. Kim Il-sung is dressed like his father and grandfather before him. We could see at the border in Seoul or in many meetings that they talked, but nothing else more than that happened.
Podemos decir que quiere ser tan amado como temido.
As Machiavelli says, he also wants to be armed and feared. A couple weeks ago, when he remembered his father,
les envió buenas energías a los surcoreanos en las peleas contra el coronavirus y aclaró que su
talked about the fight against COVID and that his military strategy is actually defensive.
que a veces los actores de este conflicto son muy explícitos y nos pasa desapercibido. No es la primera vez que
It's not the first time that this happens. In October, in the anniversary of the party,
para dominar anticipadamente a las fuerzas que puedan atreverse o amenazar o vulnerar los derechos de independencia y existencia de nuestro Estado. Continuaremos fortaleciendo la estrategia de guerra disuasiva, los medios justos de legítima defensa, a fin de contener y controlar todos los intentos peligrosos y actos intimidatorios de las fuerzas hostiles, incluida su amenaza nuclear sostenida y grave. Digo, es esa estrategia de guerra disuasiva. Digo, para recapitular, en este contexto,
so in this context, if Joe Biden gives a step back in this dialogue strategy that has begun with his predecessor, probably nothing will change. The mentality is always the same. Moment to stop the weapons. North Korea and its governor needs something to guarantee that they will give up their weapons.
Es, creo yo, queremos con
The
Julián
background, what is negotiated is how to sustain the situation without so many military expenses. One possibility to think an alternative that is a peace that is not an armed peace. Thank you so much for the invitation again. It is a pleasure to participate in this conference. Thank you so much, Daniel Wiesenberg, author of the book Two Guys in the Same Korea. He was the last panelist for today. I think the expositions today were very clear. I have a lot of questions in the chat. We have greetings, thanks from all over South America. It's the third conference that we are holding. We started in February. It was very challenging. We had 2 panels in March. It was also challenging because it's a difficult date in this region of the world. We have had conferences in different areas, different specialists under UPF. And we are going to continue working on that to make the world aware of this conflict and this important topic that we are discussing today. And we are going to have one more by the end of April to offer recommendations for the peaceful reunification of Korea. I want to thank all the speakers for today. Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you so much for the technical team, technical staff, Emmanuel Saavedra, and also for people that are watching us, that are following us from beginning to end. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Please enjoy your Easter holidays. Thank you so much to everybody that is seeing us and that has been following us. Thank you so much. A lot of blessings for you all. Let's say goodbye to the public that has followed us until now. Thank you so much.
Chao, chao. Puede abrir su micrófono. Chao, chao. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Mucho gusto estar con ustedes.
Muchas gracias a todos.
Chao, gracias, gracias,
Gracias. Gracias. Y amor para ustedes. Gracias.
Hasta luego.
Gracias.
Hasta más, hasta más.
Luego.
Gracias, de Perú. Gracias.
Muy amable.
Viva América do Sul. Viva América do Sul.
Viva.
Unidos somos imbatíveis.
Isso. Deus abençoe. Obrigado. Obrigado. Muito obrigado.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias, gracias.
Thank you.